All right, I'm delighted to say Conor Murray's here. How you doing?
I'm very well, thank you.
Not a bad week, I'd say, this week.
No, good week. In the life of a sports person, when you win on the weekend, you usually tend to have a week where you're in good form. So this week has been decent.
Does it have any bearing what happened last year in this back-to-back fixtures that you're like, oh yeah, this is really easy, it's great, and then you go and it's like, shit, what happened?
Yeah, a little bit. You can get fooled. Definitely, I think we learned a lesson last year. We probably got a little bit fooled last year, and we went to Welford Road. Probably a little complacent. I think at home in Europe in Thomond Park, it was the breakdown, and I've spoken about it a lot. It's the breakdown that will win and lose you a game, and it went so well for us the week before, and we were playing off quick ball and things felt nice and not easy, but you felt you had time. And then the week after, it just felt like there was Leicester bodies piling into the breakdown, making things scrappy, making the ball slow, and for some reason after the game we were like, what happened there? Why didn't that happen? Why wasn't it like last weekend? So yeah. That's the plan, that we have learned our lessons, and we'll go over there and play a lot better than we did last year, and hopefully put in a performance that can position us for a win, hopefully.
Yeah, because I think the breakdown has obviously been a lot talked about this week. Talking to somebody who knows the Premiership really well, he was saying that there's this thing in the Premiership at the moment where they're trying to improve the quality of the game and the product, and so the refereeing of the breakdown is very much like, let the ball get out really quickly. So Leicester were very gentle last week, which was very unusual. They were like, oh look, the ball is there, look, I've got clean hands. And Europe is different, it's just refereed differently, so they'll have learned this week that they will be able to pile bodies in and be a bit more illegal.
Illegal. It's such a fine line, the breakdown, isn't it? It really is. The game is constantly changing, the laws are changing, so the breakdown is changing an awful lot, and people, what was legal last year might be a little bit tweaked, or might be viewed a little bit differently depending on what referee you get, what league you're playing in.
Exactly,
Premiership, Pro 14, Europe. So there's an awful lot of factors that go into it, and I think our breakdown went really well last weekend. It went really, really well. I think the lads from my side on the attack made it really quick ball, like I said, gave you a little bit more time, Keats a bit more time to make have a clear mind and make better decisions is what happened. And then I think if it slows down at all, that's when it becomes difficult, and the game can, from a viewer's standpoint, look a little bit negative. But Europe's different. Europe is about winning and then getting through the pool and getting to those big days and the quarterfinals and the semi-finals.
It's going to be a dogfight this week at the breakdown. Like, how do you prepare differently? I mean, you can prepare differently, but it's just a mindset. It's like you expect this.
It's fully a mindset. It's not we prepared really well the week of the home game, and we talked about the breakdown, and I don't know, did they go soft at the breakdown? I don't think they did. I think we just were really effective in the breakdown. I think guys like John Klein, Chris Clute, Reece Marshall, all these guys they were really good at the breakdown, and our backs at times was Sammy Arnold, who's a really strong guy, Rory Scannell, who just attacked the breakdown and probably didn't give them a chance to get in and force turnovers, because we probably pinpointed it during the week and looked at it as a threat.
And when Matt O'Connor comes out afterwards though and says you were being illegal, that's a signal. He's talking to the referee, he's also letting you guys know that next week they're going to be doing a little bit of stuff their own.
Yeah, I think that's part and parcel of the game nowadays. With the coaching report or the coach's report to the ref after each game, it happens at international level, it happens at club level, and when you lose a game and you were probably dominated at the breakdown, you're going to want to respond. You're going to want to give yourself the best chance to turn that around the next week. So can you start that off in the media and then try and filter in? I don't know, but I think for us, losing over there last year and the way we lost, I know we lost in the last minute, but I think our breakdown work wasn't great, and I think we know in our heads now that it has to be of a certain level, particularly after last week, and if we want to challenge for Europe and get through our group, we got to be consistent, and this is the ultimate test of consistency. Can you do it 1 week against one team and do it again the next week against the exact same team pretty much? I know there's a few changes, but pretty much the same outfit, and that's where you can judge yourself.
What about your own role in that? Like, obviously there's a bunch of people who have the best view of the breakdown, and you're one of them, and that kind of constant chat to the referee just to make sure that he's aware if anything is happening. Is that something that you were always inclined to do anyway? Is that something you've got better at as time goes on? Or is it something you don't do?
I don't know if I got better at it. The ref last week told me to shut up at times, because I think you're wanting to play at a high tempo, you want the ball to be quick, so if you see something that is illegal, or can be reffed or penalised, then you're going to say it, because you're in the heat of the moment. You want to win, you're competitive, so that side of you comes out. And at times you've been told to quieten down and let the ref do his job, and that's the balance. If you're in the ear's ref, or the ref's ear too much, and you're constantly nagging at him, that could get into his head and affect his decisions later on in the game. So it's a balancing act, definitely. And then Pete told me to let him do the talking, so I have to leave him leave him do it at times. But you can't help yourself reffing it, because you're there and you're looking at it. The ref is right beside you, and you think you're helping him. At times you do. At times maybe it does influence him, or at times you're pointing at something he mightn't be seeing, and then he sees it and you get a penalty, and other times then it might go against you. So it's just a balance act, I think. That
general sense of being a talker now at the stage of your career, like looking back at the Rugby Writers Player of the Year, it was a year of awards, and I know you're in the middle of a season, so you're not really looking back on the calendar year, because that's not really how your sport works.
It's a bit weird,
yeah. But at the same time, like, that sense of your own position in the Irish team, in Munster, like, you came into the team really young, and so everybody was like, oh, he's still learning. You're not learning anymore. You're not a player with potential anymore. You're a player who's in the top rank, and that brings with it its own expectations about your performance, but also about your leadership. And is that something you need to work on? Is that something you constantly think of, or is that just who you are becoming as a person?
It's who you are becoming as a person. I think if you force it, and it's not naturally what you do, obviously there's things you have to work on, and you have to bring into practice and bring into the team environment. But I think the more you grow in an environment, the more I grew in the Munster environment, the more I grew in the Irish environment, and even the Lions, that you just, especially like just to go on the Lions, like the last tour in Australia, this time round, I was a lot more comfortable, a lot more assured of the player I was, and the influence I could have, and probably how people would respect what you say, and that just comes over time, and comes over, for me, probably playing well and having respect to the players around you. When you speak, I'm not a massive talker in a meeting room or anything, but I know I hope when I speak, people will listen, because I think you've done it on the pitch a good few times, and they'll respect you for it. It's like when I'm coached from Felix Jones now, I respect absolutely everything he says, because he has done it before, and unfortunately injury ruled him out, but like, he would be definitely willing to do what he's asking of you. So I think that's a massive part of it. And then you just grow as a person over the years. When I started, I was 21 when I started, and now you mature as a person. You're more.
It's also really hard for a 21-year-old to come in and automatically be a talker, whereas maybe you would have been a more natural talker at 24 if you hadn't played that many games. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's kind of counterintuitive a little bit.
100%. And I think it's the environment. Like, when I first came into the Irish camp, it's such a different time than I drive in now. Like, when I first came in for my first camp before the 2011 World Cup, driving up the driveway of Carton House and past the golf club, and Madrico and Rob Kearney and all them were there, all out on the balcony, and it was a sunny day, and I was just like, I felt like turning around and going home, because they're guys you looked up to, and you supported for Ireland, and it was just quite daunting. And then you come into the environment, and like, if you train well or whatever, then that gives you a really big kind of oomph, and you want to go again, and you want these guys to respect you. I know they've seen you play for Munster, but like, to be in the training environment and for them to kind of rate you, and then that makes it easier, and you go on like that, and you grow into it, and then they force it out of you. Particularly Raj, he wanted me to he backed me to do whatever I wanted to go with, any decision I wanted on the pitch, and he never really gave out to me unless it was absolutely necessary. And I got a bit of he never gave out. It was the stare Raj used to give you that lets you know that you messed up big time. He would kind of clench his jaw and kind of just stare at you. I have a good laugh at him about it sometimes. So I think you just grow into it.
So you said you're not much of a talker, and it's interesting, because you kind of assume the halfbacks are constantly in there in the change rooms and doing that sort of stuff. But are you becoming more of a talker?
I'm not becoming more of a talker. I think in meeting rooms, if there's an issue brought up, I think the environments we're in, I think it's very player driven. So if you've something to add, you add it, and then if you don't, you don't. And then sometimes there can be white noise in dressing rooms, which I'm particularly not a fan of, when points are being reiterated by different people. It can be quite frustrating. So you just pick and choose your times. But then I think, as a 9 and a 10, I think the biggest part is when you're on the training pitch, that you're talking there, and you're influencing people through being vocal. I think that's the most important, and in games as well. I think it comes out massively in games, so it's there. And it's more so during the week for me is about in meeting rooms, absolutely, if you've something to say it. And then I think it's more about getting the individuals ready, people around you, people that you need to be working well with, and having little mini chats. There's loads of different types of leaderships.
Of course.
I think having the little micro chats is as important as those big. I'm not a motivator. I'm definitely I'm not a guy who'll stand up and get emotional talking about it. I just make sure everything's in place, and then other guys will do that, and you can build that yourself.
The other thing that you need to be really good at as well is that non-verbal communication, because you need to be able to let your 10 know what you're going to do with just like a look or a position of the hips or whatever, and he needs to be able to read that too. And you also need to be watching the body language of whoever it is that you're keying off on when you're defending as well. So that sort of skill set, I guess, is something that is continually improving with experience and time, and whoever else you come up against.
100%. And I think that's huge. I'm glad you mentioned it. I think it's massive, because in a loud stadium where the atmosphere is hot, our people are frazzled. I think a look or an understanding with someone is massive. That's not something that is learned. I'm still learning that, and it's new players come into the team, and you got to learn how to you got to understand them and the way they want to play. And
how do you do it?
Repetition,
just like passing
absolute
balls,
repetition, and chatting to them off the pitch and getting a sense of where their mind is at. I think with Zeeves is a good example, because we've worked with each other for so long, and we've had times where good plays have come off really well, and it's from trying them out in training continuously. And I remember last year we did the inside ball against Leicester, and he got through and scored, and all the other lads were kind of joking with us afterwards, like, you've tried that hundreds of times in training and it's never happened. But the more you do it, the more you feel it, the more you sense it, and you don't have to look at him, you don't have to see if he's there. It was just a chat beforehand, and a look, or maybe a hand signal from a winger out wide who sees space. There's loads of forms of communication, as you know. And
is that the most enjoyable stuff that happens for you, and it comes off and you're like, that's what it means to be in the zone?
Absolutely, yeah. And you feel in a bit of a flow when things like that happen, and it's just rewarding, because you put so much work into it during the week, and you visualise it happening, and then sometimes it doesn't, and then when it does, it's really rewarding. It's a really good feeling that it came off on the big stage. For me, it's like, if it happens in a big game, and it comes off really well, you get a boost of confidence from that, because kicking a ball or passing, or like a really long pass in training, is easy because there's no one watching and there's no pressure on you, and then it's really rewarding to know that your skill set can survive in an atmosphere like that. Some people, you can see it in, like, nerves get the better of people, and sometimes when things like that come off you, it's a nice feeling, because you're in a different environment than training out in UL with Munster.
You mentioned Zibo and the relationship that you guys have. Like, it's a real pity that he's chosen now to go, and that relationship is going to break up. But it's been a real period of transition for Munster, and the amount of coaches that you've had over the last 6 or 7 years has been this kind of constant sense of, do we really know what the potential of your group is? And I'm not sure that we do yet, because there hasn't been that consistency. Yeah,
the consistency thing is something that, I won't lie to you, frustrated me for a few seasons, when you feel like you're getting somewhere, and then a coach will go, and then you come in for pre-season, and it's obviously a new coaching setup, it's a new playbook, it's a new philosophy around the way we play, there's new rules around the group, and it's just, I found that very frustrating. And now hopefully we have, hopefully Johan will stay around for a while, and Felix and Fla. Yeah, he's absolutely young enough. Hopefully he enjoys Limerick, and he gets into the whole Munster thing, and he seems really in awe of it. Like, he obviously he knew about it, but to be in it now, he seems kind of fascinated by it, which is nice. And we need that consistency, and especially in the playing group. Obviously, when I started with Raj and even John Hayes and Paulie, they're all there. They've all gone now. We're here, and there's still a few new, like Sam Arnold, Alex Wooten, first starts in Europe last week. But I think once your core is there, and the way you want to play, and your style of play is there, then there can be minor changes in and around the group, as long as the spine or whatever and the coaching group remain the same, and the values are there. And your role within that, and dictating what that culture is, it kind of feels like it's your group's responsibility to make sure that consistency is there, and that what Razzie had done seemed to really unlock the power of you guys as a group,
and so you'd be silly to in any way interfere with that if you were a coach coming in. But it must have been one of the most attractive things about the job as well, is that like you guys are all there and you have decided this is how we want to play, and these are our culture and this is our values.
Yeah, I think our group, and you can name a lot of players in it, but like the guys I grew up with playing, the guys I went through the academy playing with, like Peter O'Mahony, Archer, Sherry, Zeebs, Keith Earls, Ronan, these guys that have been there for so long. Over the last 2 years, like you're looking around and you're kind of like, oh, this is obviously our team, and this is the way we want to drive it. And there was a question mark over that a couple of seasons ago.
Yeah.
Like, who's the next group, or who's going to lead this? So
yeah, you took a lot of like as a group, a lot of flack, really, and it was unfair because at that stage you hadn't had the experience. It was like
exactly. So I think we found. I think as a group, we found our feet. We know what we want. We know the culture we want off the pitch and everything. And it's a really good place to be. And you're very sure of what it is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
And that was lingering for a while. We definitely know our identity, our own personality as a team, and that whether that feeds into winning cups and winning trophies and competing is the question we'll find out later in the season. But right now, I think it's in a good place, and we know we are the core group of the team, and I think we're enjoying it, definitely enjoying it.
That consistency, like Munster fans, Irish rugby fans really want CJ and Peter to stay. Like it would just be really important that, having reached this point, two of the key players who help define the identity and who embody the identity, that they stick around.
100%. Yeah, it would be like I spoke about a minute ago, like changing coaches and coming back in pre-season and doing all that and learning new calls. It was really frustrating, and if something like that happened where Pete or CJ or both left, that would be the feeling again. I'd be like, oh, again, like we have to build again. We have to bring people in. We have to try and get this back to where it was, because you want to keep building. You don't want to build and like go down back a level and go try build it up again. So I think it's really, really important that those two guys stay. So hopefully, you don't know what's going on in negotiation wise. You really don't, and media make a lot of it, and there's headlines and people ask you, is it a distraction? It's actually not. We don't find it distracting in our camp. We make a bit of a joke about it now with the two lads, but
especially Zeebo
and his Instagram, which is very funny. So yeah, other than that, it's not really talked about, and they're, like you said, they're a heartbeat of what we're trying to do. So from my selfish and Munster point of view, they need to stay, and hopefully it all gets sorted. I'm sure it will.
Yeah, good stuff. Conor, enjoy it this weekend. Thanks a million. Cheers.
Hey, hope you enjoyed that latest offering from Off the Ball. If you want to subscribe, and you should, check out just up here. All our latest stuff is just down here. Generally, knock yourself out.